I want to give a hearty congratulations to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for the stunning victory in her primary yesterday. Despite billionaire money being pumped into Michelle, just a huge amount of corporate support, folks. Huge. Alexandria blew her the fuck out. Now, why is this important to me? Well, because I'm not a fucking moron, I always knew Alexandria was going to win. Because, holy shit, obviously, she has a very high approval rating from her district. But there are some people who did not share those perspectives. I draw your attention now to Dim Fool, who has been just losing it today. Ocasio-Cortez re-election in trouble as Trump mega donors donate to her main rival. How mad. All those Trump donors donating to a Democrat candidate who got blown the fuck out. AOC is going to lose her seat in June to a moderate as the trend holds true. Progressives don't win. Ocasio-Cortez close to losing her seat in Congress. Bail reform backfired and Democrats declare war. And then, yesterday, the moment passes. Maybe people don't want to go back to the way things were. Did you actually think AOC was going to lose? No, I kept saying she'd win. No. That's what I like to see. We see a similar pattern here. Here's another video, by the way. He's done so many videos in AOC. Ocasio-Cortez could lose re-election tomorrow, and she's worried this could end the leftist Democrats. Then, of course, we get the results. He won't be streaming today. Now, I have made my opinions known about Tim Pool many times, but I'm happy to say it again. I'm happy to refresh, happy to refresh everyone's, memory. Tim Pool is one of the stupidest and most bad faith political interlocutors, on YouTube. The fact that he is still keeping up this, I'm actually a liberal who's just disaffected with the Democratic Party, and people are still buying it, is insane to me. You'll notice all of those videos, despite being little stream clips, all had hundreds of thousands of views. Tim Pool might actually have more engagement than literally any other political figure on YouTube right now. If we go to, what's the name of his channel? Timcast? Timcast, right? That's his one of his channels. He has multiple, Yes, the Cringe Cast, as one might say. Dave Rubin is dumber, though. Listen, it's not a race, okay? Except for what AOC run. AOC ran a race. And won, as it so happens. But yeah, look, I mean, it's actually disgusting. Tim gets about 40 million views a month right now. His growth has been, like, astronomical. It's actually insane. It's actually extremely depressing. I feel bad for the people who this is higher than Crowder. This is higher than Shapiro. It's actually pretty crazy because Tim Pool is, I mean, if you actually watch his videos, he is not bright, but that kind of fits though, doesn't it? If you actually go to his, if you actually go here, let's take a look at Timcast. How you doing, Timcast? Take a peek.
For those that aren't familiar,
he posts incredibly frequently. And it's basically like a little snip, a little snapshot of what you would expect like any other reactionary YouTube channel to go, but it has this veneer of good faith criticism of Democrats. See? Ocasio could be voted out on Tuesday. Here, constantly covering Chaz kind of fits into what I was saying just the other day. Far leftists in Chaz get reality check as medics refuse to enter without police and man bleeds out. Excellent. Conservatives join the leftist cultural revolution, demand elite universities be canceled. Leftists claim TikTok teens own Trump, mock low rally turnout, but this could still help Trump. Even Trump... Even Trump said, even Trump would claim to be furious about the underwhelming crowd at Tulsa rally. But that's part of what, like, Trump simps do. Even Trump will admit that he's, like, upset or furious with something, and they'll be like, well, no, actually, it's good for him. That's the point of being a simp, right? Like, you have to have a greater faith in your God than the God does in themselves, you know? Here's another Chaz shooting. Statues being torn down. Cancel Joe Rogan. Korean rooftop meme. Tulsa declares civil emergency over Trump rally and protest fears. Like, everything that he does, it's very lazy. It's like he finds one article and then he reads it out loud while constantly editorializing, you know? Now, mind you, I am not exactly the most active and energetic content creator. You might notice very little editing goes into my videos, and I'm proud of what I am, baby. But when I make content, I do genuinely believe that I am infusing my videos with a fairly high level of, you know, intellectual engagement. I do make an effort. Like, I really do, you know? I may not edit those videos, but goddamn do I put effort into what I'm thinking about. High-level ideas, you know? But, man, and this is just one of the channels too. If we can go to Timcast IRL, you know? Always fun. This channel also gets hundreds of thousands of views. Oh, I saw this. Tim Explodes slams the people who refuse to stand up to the mob. I saw this. Look at this. Nearly 500,000 views one day after it was posted. God, fuck me. I wish I could get that kind of engagement. It is in part jealousy, you know. I do admit to that. But the fact that there are people online, that many people online, who put so much stock in the words of this man. Listen to this.
And this is what
Here, he has this little online show.
I was thinking, you know what, man? I thought if Joe Biden wins, then this whole country is going to go so far woke, so fast, your head will spin, and no one will do anything about it. But if Trump wins, the insane woke people will start some kind of civil war. I think...
Listen to this. Listen to this man. Woke people. What the fuck does he mean? People will get so woke so fast. The term woke is really useful for these brainlets because it's so amorphous and so non-specific that it could refer to literally anything. What the fuck does he mean? Like, what is he referring to here?
I think that
they'll try.
No, listen. If Biden wins, then all of these conservatives and all of these people who are complaining about the stuff will sit on their hands and say, oh, well, you know, I don't like it. And they'll do nothing about it. Nothing will happen.
No, you're wrong, because you already said earlier when we were talking about what California is doing, when they come for the elite's children, the elites will make a difference and change and fight it. That's just the beginning.
That was from James Lindsay, who said, I think I...
Now, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the language of the Boogaloo, but this sounds like a far-right podcast right now from what we're listening to. We need to defend Western civilization against these insane, replace cultural Marxists with woke people. When they come for the children of our elite, when they realize what a threat these people are, then they'll do something. It's the same ploy fascists engage in time and time again. Every single threat, every concern has to be brought up to the level of civilization ending. Somebody's burning a flag, civilization is ending. Statues being taken down, civilization is ending. People are protesting, civilization is ending. An AutoZone got burned, civilization is ending. Yeah, he talks about the war on white people every single stream. This is the language of the far right, because Tim Pool is a fascist. I know people say I call everyone a fascist, but this is not exactly a difficult call on my part. Every single fucking time anything happens in this country, there is a an entire community of people online who will claim that this is the beginning of the death of Western civilization, that this is an attack on white people. Very telling, by the way, that protests against racism are interpreted as an attack against white people. As a white person, I do not feel particularly threatened myself, but I don't know, maybe that's just my predilection. And they screech about how this is the beginning of the end times. The rhetoric of civilizational collapse is the turning point. It's the wheel around which fascist rhetoric turns.
Saw the beginning of the end of this.
I know, but I think there's some truth in that, though.
I do.
Because the people who make the most money, they like the status quo if they continue making the most money, because they can pay for whatever security they need. They can pay to have food brought in for wherever they want. It doesn't affect them. But when it starts affecting them, they're going to...
The wealthy elite are insulated from the consequences of the social culture war that they bring about. They have the wealth to allow the woke to patrol the streets. This is what Nazis would say, by the way. The wealthy people don't really give a fuck if the Jews import a bunch of brown and black people because they live in gated communities. You've listened to me argue with Nazis before. Have you heard that argument before? Because I know I have. The reason the wealthy import so many brown and black people is because they're wealthy enough to live in gated communities where they get to live amongst their own folk. They don't care what happens to the common people. Hey, this is right-wing populism, by the way. Criticisms of wealthy people, not because of the inherent power disparity between the wealthy and the poor, mind you, but because the wealthy people finance cultural movements that we don't like. That's right-wing populism. Hello, Crystal Ball. Why don't you have Tim Pool on sometime? I'm sure you guys would get along. Anyway, at some point in this video, Tim Pool loses his shit. Is it this point?
Dude. Even though the Joe Rogan podcast has been around for a decade, and they'll say, oh no, what do we do? And the left will probably gain tons of ground and go insane, and people will say, please leave me alone. And if Joe Biden wins, they'll take over all our cultural institutions, they'll put psychotic and insane definitions in our dictionary, and they will take over, and regular Americans will say, please, for the love of God, just leave me alone. And they never will. They'll never stop coming. They will take your job away. They will come for your parents. You will do something wrong, they'll fire your mom. They'll come to your house with fireworks and guns, and Americans will still just say, please, just leave me alone. And that's how it is. Even in the Revolutionary War, most people, the largest majority of people, were non-initiated. There was a small faction saying no revolution. There was a larger faction saying revolution. And the bulk said, please just leave me alone. So long as we've been dealing with the psychotic cancel culture, and I've been hearing about people like James Lindsay saying this, and Coleman Hughes saying, I get messages all the time from people saying, this is insane and must stop. Well, where are you to stand up at your job and tell your boss to shut up when he says, I'm going to put out this bland message that panders to these woke lunatics? Where are you to say, if you
So, in case you haven't spent much time listening to the far-right talk, everything Tim Pool just said could have ended with the phrase, gas the kikes race war now, and it would not have been a pivot at any point in time. I've heard his rhetoric from neo-Nazis before. Seriously, everything that he's talking about. The average common American doesn't want this bullshit. They're simpering. They're weak. The insane cultural Marxists are taking to the streets. They're going to destroy our culture. They're going to override our dictionaries. They're going to attack white people over and over and over again. They will never stop. It will be the death of every... You could literally just end that with gas the kikes race war now, and it really would not be much of a difference. But he says it nicer. That's the difference. He doesn't say cultural Marxists, he says woke. He doesn't say race war, he says culture war. He doesn't say Jews, he says elites. He's got the definition switched up. Sounds a little bit more civil. And that's all it takes for people. Because the people who watch Tim Pool, and I see this, God, I see this from the TikTok kids too. There are so many of these TikTok kids. They're like MAGA 2020, fuck immigrants, fuck leftists. Oh, I'm not a conservative. I'm a classical liberal. Conservatism is not very hip these days. So all these people with conservative values are dressing them... dressing themselves up as just, I mean, we know the meme, right? The enlightened centrist. Oh, I'm not a conservative. I'm just a centrist who has some concerns. And then you see them retweeting, you know, Lauren Southern or something. We know the meme. And Tim Pool is perfect for people like that. He is picture perfect for those people. He's not particularly bright, which means it's easy to relate to him. His appearance reeks of like early 30s, like male insecurity. I mean, no offense to anyone who's watching right now who looks like this, but I will, if there's any like eminable quality of Tim Pool, is that he is very relatable in this respect. And all of the language that he uses is just a sanitized version of far-right rhetoric. And I imagine a lot of the people who watch him are not themselves open neo-Nazis, but probably just fascists who don't know what fascism is or that they are fascists. You know? Naive co-host, BLM and corporate America are developing quite an alliance. You know, in Nazi Germany, the Nazis argued that big corporations were allied with the Jews. I mean, they still do. And that they were destroying German culture through the dissemination of cultural Bolshevism. Can't trust polling. Oh, they're coping about Biden's poll numbers, I think. Tearing down America's history clearly shows that Marxism has infiltrated America. Listen to that. These people want to remove Confederate memorials, and these people instantly, they think this is Marxism. I fucking wish. God, I wish. But no. A lot of those people are just liberals, but they're anti-racist. The conflation of anti-racism and Marxism. Where have I heard that before? Anti-racism is a code word for anti-white? Heard that before. Yes, the silent majority must stop being silent. You can literally just read these out of speeches. Does anyone know how to read German? I mean, you don't even need translations. I can see it now. New host of InfoWars, Tim Pool. Okay, that's accurate. This person's on the mark. I don't want anyone to go out and engage in physical conflict. That's a perfectly rational and decent position to take. It's just too late for that. The left has escalated it to the point where any discourse, civil or otherwise, is impossible. They have escalated it to the point of widespread destruction and violence. They want a war. Never let people believe that we are the ones gunning for civil war in this country. These people, literally, there's a couple blocks in Seattle get taken over, a few statues get torn down, and these people want a fucking war. It isn't just them. It's the entire internet right now that is on the right who is treating this like the beginning of a race war. The people who talk about BLM like it's anti-white. The people who talk about tearing down these statues like it's anti-white. These people desperately want to go out into the streets with an AR and gun down black men who are in the process of, I don't know, protesting a Chick-fil-A or something. They jerk off to it. They're little fucking wieners. It's the only thing that gets them hard anymore. The power fantasy, the masculinity, the idea of being the champion of their Western values and going on out there and destroying the free speech of protesters as the forefathers would have wanted. And Tim Pool is a nexus of that. I think, and I feel comfortable in saying this, in addition to Tim Pool being glaringly, hilariously incorrect about stuff like, you know, AOC's incredible victory, I do think that people like Tim Pool, and certainly Tim Pool's audience, should probably be looked at with scrutiny by organizations like the FBI. These people gun for civil war, and they facilitate the gunning of civil war every bit as substantively as people like Lauren Southern, which led to the Charlottesville shooting, or not Charlottesville, I'm very sorry, the Christchurch shooting. Both start with a C. I'm very, I'm weak. Through the conspiracy theory of the Great Replacement, and now we have this. Tim Pool is probably at this point in time one of, if not the most active and influential political figures on the internet. And if that does not speak to the position we are in right now, I don't know what does.